It is so wonderful to look out and see all of you. It's been a long time, and or it feels like a long time. And I want to bring you greetings from my husband, Don. He says you are welcome for the good weather. He knew that if he left, then the weather would be good. So because he was worried about snow and driving in the camper in the snow and everything, he took off yesterday and drove all the way to Topac, Arizona in one day. But he's back home, and I know he's back with our cat Andy, and he won't have to be lonely. And I had hoped to be able to bring Bella and our new dog Missy, because they Bella would remember the church. And we don't have Ringo anymore. We lost him a few years back. And please know that, as Jerry says, you know, time takes on different dimensions as you get older, as most of you will know. So, you know, I'm iffy on dates and everything like that. But I wanted to tell you a little bit of history. You heard what Jerry said and what others have told you. I know that back in the 70s, I can't tell you exact dates, Utah's ecumenical organization, Shared Ministries, brought together the American Baptists and the United Methodists to start a church where there was no Christian church, and that was here in Morgan Valley. And I know Marge and her husband Harold at the time were very instrumental in that. And specifically, it was Clearfield Community Church, where Jerry and I went, and the Community United Methodist Church in Washington Terrace, who partnered together to support this new ministry here in Morgan Valley. And through the years, the Morgan Valley Church was led by various lay speakers and pastors from these churches and other shared ministry churches in the area. They would occasionally have retired pastors who came and served here for a while, many of them from the American Baptist Minister at Large program. And that's how they got through the years. But there came a time when they were without pastoral care. And people like Marge and Harold and Monica kept things going. Marge would have a midweek Bible study to keep things going. And that was about the same time that Jerry and I were going back and forth to Idaho for these lay ministry training, this 3-year program he talked about. I did not make my project coming up here. I had no idea that I would ever leave Clearfield Community Church. Irene and I did everything together at Clearfield. I had the idea, Irene knew how to make it happen, and we did everything. But in talking with Jerry as we traveled, I came to Irene and I said, you know, I'm having a feeling that God is calling me to go work with Jerry. And I says, wouldn't it be great if you and I were to kind of take a sabbatical from Clearfield, and we'll go up to Morgan for a couple of years and see if we can help things out and get things on their feet. I thought this was great. And Irene, after thinking about it, said, well, Fran, I really believe God is calling you, but I don't believe God is calling me. Well, I thought, that's that. I'm not going to go anywhere that Irene's not going. But as it turned out, when we finished our lay ministry program, the Clearfield Community Church certified both of us as lay pastors and commissioned the both of us to come up here and pastor in the church. And so I joined Jerry as his assistant pastor. But in my mind, I was going to go up there for maybe 2 or 3, maybe 3 years and help out, and the church would get stronger and everything would be great, and I would come back to the church I grew up in, the church I loved, the church I never imagined being anywhere but. But then you know how best laid plans go. About 2 years in, Jerry's job moves him to Virginia. I had many conversations with God about that, and the answer was always, you're it. And the Morgan Valley Church family voted for me to continue on as pastor. And so I did. And I have been blessed with nearly 25 years of sharing in the lives of the people here at Morgan Valley Christian Church. It has been an amazing time. It's hard to imagine it was that long ago sometimes. I shared in times of sorrow and loss. I shared in times of joy. I've been privileged to be able to officiate at the weddings of children that I baptized. I have been privileged to dedicate and bless and baptize children of those children. I've been able to share and care for this community here in times of national sorrow, like 9/11. I have learned so much, and I am so grateful for all the care that you gave to me through all those years. And I will do my best to get through most of this stuff. This is something that most of you are probably familiar with, me crying at the pulpit. I remember times like when I would try new things, and you would be fine with it. I could get away with stuff that other pastors would say, well, how did you do that? And you would love me through it. You loved me through times when I forgot things, like I forgot to set out the candles for the Christmas candlelight Christmas Eve service. Didn't realize it until we were ready to light the candles. So we all stuck our fingers in the air and pretended. I remember when I made the decision to let Lynn Sutton bring her dog Ebony to church with her. And that was the time when we became a dog-friendly church. And we've had 4 or 5 dogs in here together at times, and it was wonderful. And when Mercy was born, and Jamie was bringing Mercy even as a puppy, and what a gift she has been to the church, even as the rest of us have gone on. In fact, in some of the pictures I had my dog, you could see my dog Jigsy in my lap. And you took care of me when I shattered my femur and was not able to be in the pulpit for a while. People came and they served in the pulpit, and in all the times that it took for me to recover from my surgery. And when I came back, the men of this church literally carried me up the stairs so I could get into the sanctuary to preach. You cared for me up through all the years I cared for my husband, Frank, my beloved husband, who suffered from Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, and eventually through his death. And when I found new love with Don Kimball, you rejoiced with me and shared with me in that joyful time for us. And Fred served as the officiant to our wedding, and we have the wedding right here. I think there's pictures around somewhere, and what a joyful day that was. I thank you, and I will always cherish my memories of you. I have another memory of the first time that Jenny Smolin came to church. And I remember her telling me that I am not a churchgoer, but I'm feeling the need for something more in my life. And she says, but then I don't think my husband or my son or my daughter will ever come to church with me. Well, again, things came out different, and they did come to church with her and join with her. And Jenny, over the years, Jenny has shared with her gift of gardening in creating that beautiful garden that we have out front in honor of her mother. And it has brought joy to people in the church. It has brought joy and peace to the community and far beyond the community. I can't tell you how many people have come from many different places to ask to put something in the garden, to just come see it. And what a wonderful gift that was. And I was privileged through those years to watch the spiritual growth of Fred and Jenny. I could see with Fred I saw God working in his life through many different times, and we had often some good talks about that. And eventually, as time went, Fred would tell me, I feel like I'm being called to some kind of service. Oh, do you think it's pastoral care? No, it's not that. I'm sure it's something else. And this went on for a few years, several times. And finally, one day when I asked him that question, he says, I think maybe it might be. And eventually, this church, and I got to mention in 2000, after about 8 years of serving as a certified lay pastor, this church decided to quit certifying me every 4 years, and the congregation ordained me as their pastor. So they wouldn't have to go through that every 4 years. So at that time, we certified Fred as a lay pastor, and he actually shared the pulpit with me for several years. And I knew when it came time for me to retire that this beloved church would be in good hands with Fred. I know that there is a time and a season for everything. And our lives are full of beginnings and endings. I also know just how hard endings are. But it has been my experience in life that endings create space for new beginnings. I have always said that Morgan Valley Christian Church would be here as long as God needed us to be here. I don't know what comes next. None of us do. But I do trust in God's plans, whatever that may be. I know that the love we have shared here through the years with each of us will go on, will live on in each one of us, and it will continue to touch lives wherever any of you are, any of us are. You have done well, good and faithful servants. Bless you. Thank you. I love you.